horse lovers, welcome back to Free Spirit Equestrian. So today I'm going to be riding my 3 auction ponies, Cruella, Weselton, and Olaf. And as you can see, I am representing them on my Free Spirit Equestrian merchandise, and this is all their faces, and it says Pony Obsessed and Proud. Yay! So if you want to buy that, you can check out my shop in the description. Also, if you have not seen their video, you should check out their auction video and their playlist below in the description. Okay, horse lovers, let's get riding.
Okay, so first up we have Mr. Olaf, and I cannot wait to ride him. So first I'm going to show you mounting, and sometimes he kind of puts his head up, as you can see, like right when I go to mount. So I've just been doing, like with grooming, like a lot of like massage techniques and just kind of getting him to relax, and then I stand there for a little bit and just pet him and rub his neck a little bit, and then he definitely relaxes. He's getting a lot better about it, but yeah. So we're going to warm up at our walk. And as you can see, he's just kind of stretching out, just hanging out, relaxing. He's definitely changing. I think his shape is changing a little more too. He's kind of developed a little bit more muscle. And yeah, I just think he's so adorable. So now that I've had the ponies for a little bit, I'm able to identify their strengths and weaknesses a lot more. Right now with Olaf, I think he needs to work on just kind of relaxing a little bit. He's doing so much better than before, but just kind of keeping that rhythm and just getting more balance. So he really likes to curl and go behind the vertical. It's one of his favorite things to do, or he likes to put his head straight up. So what I'm looking for is to get him to relax enough where he just kind of gets on the bit, which is where his nose is still in front of the vertical and his neck is a little more even with his shoulder. And it will just take time for him to develop the self-carriage and the balance to be able to have his neck even with his shoulder and also to carry himself uphill. So right now, as you can see, I purposely turned early off the rail, and I'm just kind of leg yielding him a little bit over to the rail. He's not quite doing a leg yield, but just kind of getting him used to like the lateral pressure of, okay, I'm like using my hip and really my psoas muscle to kind of just ask him to kind of move over and open up that hip so that he moves away from the leg. And eventually he'll be able to do those leg yields and do them really nicely. But this is just the start of that. Okay, so we're going to go into our canter. That was an okay transition. So again, he really likes to kind of curl, as you can see on the bit. And I'm just really lightly just kind of asking him to lift up by using my calves and a little bit with my reins if he really curls. So I'm just very lightly encouraging, hey, get back up, get back up. And that was an okay little trot there. We're going back in the canter again. It's a little bit better, but again, he kind of likes to tilt his head. He's just trying to find that balance and that rhythm. And again, this is just going to take time and proper muscling and balance. It'll probably take a good year to really get that canter nice and solid, but he's trying. And again, in the indoor, it is a little bit more difficult because it is smaller. And of course we have stuff in like each corner. So it does make it slightly more challenging, but yeah, so that's where I'm at with him right now. He's doing really good.
Okay, so we had an okay ride. It wasn't our best ride ever. He's had a few days off, but I think he did pretty good overall. So, all right, on to Cruella.
Okay, we have Miss Cruella, aka Trouble, right here. I'm just kidding. She's so sweet. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with mounting. So she used to kind of walk away from the mounting block, and so did Olaf. So they're both doing really good with standing still. She just chilled out there until I asked her to move forward. Seems relaxed. And so I'm adjusting my stirrups, so I figured I'd just show you guys. And she stood like really, really nicely while I fixed them while I was on her. So that was really cool. Okay, so now we're ready to start. So again, identifying the weaknesses. So of course, with Cruella, it's always her going fast, but she's done a lot better with that, and just kind of working on getting her a little more to like relax and stretch out a little bit more in her trot and her canter. So we're just working again with the rhythm on the trot and just kind of letting her figure out like where to put her head, not really asking for a headset, but just allowing her to relax into the bit. And we're also working on the canter. Her head used to be straight up in the air like an alpaca. So we're just looking for more of that level, even shoulder and just getting her transitions a little smoother. So kind of similar to Olaf in ways. I do feel like they are similar in what they need to work on. And I am in my like half seat right now just to get off her back a little bit so that she can just kind of worry about like where she's going and not, you know, have to have the weight on her back while we're cantering. And she is doing a lot better than before. Like she's actually looks like just like a horse that needs some work versus another species. So that's pleasant. So we're just going to do some circles. So she, just like most green horses, she falls to the inside in her canter and her trot, and her shoulder just kind of falls out. So we're just working on keeping the straightness, the balance, and her trot is definitely improving too. You saw the first ride, and if you haven't, check it out in the playlist, the pony playlist. But yeah, she's improved immensely since ride number 1. And it has been really cold today. It's 37 degrees. Hallelujah. You guys from Florida, you know who you are. I'm jealous. So yeah, this is a warm day for us. But yeah, everyone's had a few days off, so we're just kind of getting the swing of things. Well, that was pretty good right there, for where she's at right now. And, sometimes she gets really heavy on that forehand and wants to lean on the bit. And I want her to stretch down, but I don't want her to hang on the bit either. So it's a fine line between, okay, let's stretch out. I'm letting her here, just kind of loose rein, even though I want her to stretch down a little bit more, versus just kind of lifting her up. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where we're at with her right now. Yay, she's so sweet.
Okay, so I had a pretty good ride on Cruella. I just put her back outside. She was a little sweaty. I did have the cooler on her for 15 minutes and then put her out, and she's good to go. Okay, last but not least, Wessel.
Okay, next up, Mr. Duke of Weselton. He has been such an awesome boy. And again, I'm going to show you mounting. And again, they're all doing really good with it. So see there, he just got his balance. He just was shifting. He wasn't walking away. So that was super awesome. Also, I just wanted to point out the strap that you see hanging is my latigo. So I tied my regular cowgirl knot, but then the latigo's so long, I tucked it through. Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to point that out. So of course, we're going to warm up at our walk. We're going to do some circles, some bending, all that fun stuff, and just get them acclimated. And again, talking about strengths and weaknesses. So Weselton really likes to root and get on the bit, and especially with transitions, he just immediately throws all his weight on the forehand and into the bridle. So we are working on not doing that and keeping it light and just trying to get him to stay up and stay focused and balanced instead of just throwing everything down. And although it's nice because he stops immediately, it's not nice when he pulls your entire body forward. So you've seen it maybe in some other videos. But yeah, so that's what we're working on with our transitions. Overall, his rhythm is actually pretty good for the most part. I don't feel like he goes super fast or super slow. So that's really nice. Okay, so for my session with Weselton today, I really want to focus on canter transitions and just, again, keeping him up instead of him just throwing all his weight onto the forehand. We haven't done a ton of cantering in the indoor arena, so we've cantered in here, but today we're going to do a lot. And again, it's because it's smaller. The corners are a lot more, sharp and narrow, so I wanted them to get a little bit more muscle before asking them to do too much. So when you see me transition here, sometimes you'll see my hands kind of go up. That was actually good. I mean, it wasn't aesthetically pleasing, but it was good because he didn't just throw his head down immediately when I asked him to trot. That was better too. So again, I just very lightly pull back, but I just kind of keep my hands up. And see, I'm lifting and squeezing with my calf to get him to find the sweet spot, the self-carriage, instead of him throwing down. Because if you don't correct this problem, from the get-go, it's going to always be a problem. It's pretty hard to untrain because they just get so used to it and they don't really have to use their body or muscle, just throw everything in front of them. So we're working on that. He's doing really good with picking up the canter though, and he's getting his leads for the most part. So that's super awesome. He's a really fun horse, a really fun pony. I love him. So cool. And again, we're also working on suppleness. So he can be, as you can see there, he can kind of fall into those corners to the outside. So, and then kind of falls in at times too to the inside, just normal stuff that just is going to take time. But yeah, I just want to really get him to grasp the concept of, don't just throw your balance away just because we go, transition downward. That was a decent transition too. Oh, and see, he picked up the wrong lead here. So the leg closest to the rail was forward when you want the leg closest to the inside forward, both those legs. There. Anyways, so the other day we did walk to trot, trot to walk transition. So today we're doing, canter to trot. We did do some trot to walk as well. But I want to add, this takes a lot of balance and it takes a lot of muscling and effort on the horse's part, especially when they're not used to using their bodies properly. So, that's why it's not going to look, so beautiful. because it takes a lot. It takes a lot for the horse to be able to do this. So just wanted to, you know, give him credit where it's due. And he does kind of like to gape, so like opening the mouth. And that's another thing. So he has a Mullen plastic bit in right now, which he does like, but that just takes time. But yeah, you really want to, you know, you don't want the gaping. And it's just something that I keep an eye on. He only does it sometimes, but again, just trying to get him to lift up when he wants to go on the forehand, but then he has to stay up. That's when I notice the gaping. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and see, you know, is it just because you're just getting used to this, or is there something else? So I'm just going to keep my eye on that, but just something to be conscientious about. And that's the nice part. Like I can, when I'm editing these, I'm watching too, and I'm like seeing these things that I might not see when I'm on top of the horse. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, he's definitely willing, and he's going to be such a cool little guy. He has super smooth gaits, so that's nice. It's just when he transitions down, sometimes I just feel like he's just pulling my arms out, like not on purpose, but just because he just throws all that weight into the front. All right, I think that was super awesome. He is so sweet. Okay, so we're just gonna walk and cool down. I'm giving him lots of pats because he was so good. Okay, horse lovers, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the pony training sessions, and I'll see you next time. Bye, horse lovers.